Hey, I'm back, and I'm here to talk about the new Netflix show that came out, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I watched the movie version of the comic a long time ago, but when watching the anime, I barely remember the movie, so it's basically a fresh view of the series. I mean, I saw the trailers and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this could be pretty cool, but it blew my expectations out of the water in terms of style, animation, emotion, and paying respect to the other versions. Of course, the show also came with problems for me that I'll talk about after I say what I liked about it. I typically only really talk about what I like about the shows I've reviewed so far, so this is my first time ever with any negative comments. I'm not saying that the first two shows I reviewed were flawless in any way. I sure had my negative opinions on them, but I prefer to talk positively. I just thought I should share my full opinion with the series to respect what they did and how, in my opinion, it could be better in my eyes. Scott Pilgrim is a man that I think is designed for most people to dislike. He's dating an underage high school girl named Knives as a 23-year-old and is struggling to survive as a normal adult without leeching off his friend Wallace. Of course, his life changes drastically when meeting the girl of his dreams, Ramona Flowers. But in order for Scott to date Ramona, he has to fight her 7 evil exes. And that is how the story typically goes. But where Scott Pilgrim Takes Off does a full different version, literally just changing everything. What happened in this version? Instead of Scott fighting the evil exes one-on-one like he does in every version of the story, he loses the first fight. But not in the way you think. Sure, we get an entire episode showing what would happen if Scott had died that night, but at the end, we see Ramona have a vision, and Scott is calling out to her. This sets up a completely new timeline where Ramona is in search of Scott and believes that one of her evil exes are to blame. This version sets Ramona as the main character and really builds her as a character and takes her exes more seriously and fleshes them out as well. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is a breath of fresh air from Netflix's other works of recent and solidifies itself as a piece made from talent. The animation is my favorite part, and the style of the art they used made the animation look really unique. The fight scenes had amazing choreography, and every fight had an element to it. When Ramona fought one of her evil exes, Roxy, I love what they did with the setting changing from movie to movie. Also, what they couldn't do smoothly in the movie with things like hammer space is done really well in the animation. Of course, I already mentioned how Ramona and many others got more development and exploration, but I want to talk more on how great they did. It was a slow burn, showed all their flaws and mistakes, and how they wanted to change, but they were stuck too afraid to do so. They may all be evil exes, but it isn't all their fault, and we see how Ramona can be to blame for a lot of what happened in the story. Still, it's those moments of self-reflection and growth that we see characters change. I would honestly put this version of the story at the top of the character writing and development. The ending fight was cool, but the resolution didn't really stick. It felt like they tried to resolve so many things at once, but the whole point of this new version was it was a slow burn. And I don't really understand how time travel works in this universe, but if these events happen for past Scott, they'll happen for future Scott. That's how time travel works. Okay, I'm taking this comedy a little too seriously, right? I think that's just it. The ending didn't feel like a comedy. It felt like they were really trying to do something serious, but the entire time they were aiming for comedy, so it just fell a little flat for me. Could I be reading a little too much into this? Most definitely. But it's my opinion, and I like speaking my mind about shows and other media like this. And I plan to do it lots, and I want to get quicker upload schedules running, so I plan on doing review and commentary videos around every week, or maybe a little later. And in the meantime, I thought I could try my hand at gaming vids, so expect at least one gaming vid in between each video essay. I have a lot of fun making these videos, but I'd like for you guys to get a little more entertainment, and I love games, so I thought this would be a good idea. Also, side note, thanks for hitting over 300 views on my Digital Circus video. I knew in my heart it would break 100, but I never thought it would get that far. Also, thanks to all that liked as well. And if you want to like this video, as well as leave a little comment, that would be greatly appreciated. You can argue your perspective on Scott Pilgrim Takes Off if you want. If you think I'm wrong, go for it, man. I'll be awaiting your comment. All right. See you guys later.